Mark Tank Evans reporting for Friday Night Glory. We are here at the Richardson High School annual spring football game, and I have beside me none other than the legendary Coach Winston Duke, the man who coached me, taught me everything I know about the game, taught me a lot about life as well. How you doing tonight, Coach?
I'm doing great, Mark. Good to be here.
Awesome. I didn't even want to give you the mic. I was so excited to talk to you. Man, I tell you, tonight they're going to honor you and just look back on the history that you've had with this program and the things that you've done. How does it feel to be honored on a night like this?
Well, I think it's tremendous to be honored, but at the same time, I understand that I couldn't have done any of the things that I did without the coaches and players that I had working for me. So I like to always tell them I'm never going to say I did. It's going to be we did or us do it or somebody else. But it was never me by myself, and I know that. I came with a program and followed two great coaches in Joe Simpson and Otis Ratliff, and fortunate enough to be able to move into the program. About 2 weeks before 1975 season started, I got the job. So you can imagine what that first year was like.
I can imagine, Coach, and I'll tell you, I came to the program about 10 years after that in 85, and at that point you guys were always competitive annually. What did you decide to base the building of that program on when you did get that job?
Well, when we started out, the biggest thing was that I had learned from the other two guys is don't make all your kids worry about being in off season. Off season is for the players that need a lot of help. Your good athletes need to be on the field in competition somewhere. So our motto was, we're going to build some players. Everybody says you can't make players. Well, we did. We made a habit out of taking kids that would never play if we left them like they were. And a young man named Andrew Robertson played for us back when we were in the late 90s when we were doing really, really good, and had our great teams. And we started all season, he couldn't jump 6 inches off the ground. But by the time all season was over, he became the first alternate for every offensive lineman in the game. So the whole deal was you're only as good as not number one and not number two, but what happens if 3, 4, and 5 can't play.
Yes, sir. And I remember developing as an individual out there on that pole out there. I remember as a sophomore going into that offseason, I couldn't climb the pole. But that next offseason, you guys really pushed me and made me work in that offseason program, man. And by the time I was getting ready to transform into a senior, I was able to actually reach it. And it was amazing. It was an amazing feeling. So you talked about the teams from back in the late 80s, early 90s. I was part of a team that actually won a district championship under you, led by one Chris Wilson. How have you heard about the things that he's done and got to witness some of his accomplishments?
Well, I keep in touch with Chris every chance I get, and when I went over to Bishop Lynch, my first call was to him to see if I could get a little help on what he was doing with his defensive linemen, because new kids, knew something, and I've been out of coaching for a couple of years on the defensive side. I'd always worked the offensive side when I was here working with Winston and crew. So when I got a chance to go back to defense, I wanted somebody else's viewpoint on what was happening with those big guys. And he was gracious enough to talk to me, and then his wife called me and told me about the night. And he was supposed to be here, but, of course, it's rookie week in the pro camps, and he says, I just can't do it.
Yes, sir. And being a Super Bowl champion in this offseason ain't too bad either.
Oh, no. And who would have ever thought, that you're going to work with a guy and he's going to go off from here to Oklahoma and make a great name for himself, stay with the Bears until the last cut, and then go into the coaching, and has moved up the ranks phenomenally, really quick. And nothing but a trail of great success all the way around. So players like him made me good.
Absolutely. And I tell you, you've coached quite a few. So since we are looking back on the teams of the past and the ones that you actually were at the helm of, do you have any particular team that stands out as one of the favorites? I remember that 83 team, I think, played against Island Park and got a victory. What are some of the memories that you have of some of the teams of the past?
Well, I'm going to go back to 83 right quick since you mentioned it first. And there was probably the biggest hit by anybody that I've seen around here. I got some exceptions to that for some of the players a while ago, but in 83, Mike McCauley on an opening kickoff tackled a kid from Highland Park, and the kid laid there on the ground for about 15 minutes with the ball right on his abdomen and couldn't get up. And we thought we'd knocked him out or killed him. We didn't know. But that was probably the biggest hit. A great season for us because we weren't supposed to be that good. We had some great kids and great players and got down the Cotton Bowl and had a big win down there and got to go move on. That's a big deal. But when I first came here in '68, I had been a head coach in Arkansas for 3 years before I came here. I came in as a B-team coach, and the varsity in '67 had just played in front of the crowd down at SMU Stadium or the Cotton Bowl where SMU played, 29,000 people between them and Bryan Adams. And SMU played the day before, didn't have quite 19,000, so it was quite a big deal. And then '68 we played and got beat in the regionals over here with Irving High School, and the guy that was the quarterback for Irving that year went ahead and became the special teams coach for the Cowboys. So we were thinking we were going to make it all the way to the next game, and about 2 minutes left in the game, they intercept the pass and go down and score on us. So needless to say, but you go back to all the good years, it's hard to pick out just one or two. There were some in there that were just amazing, and then when we beat Plano for the first time in modern time, when Plano had moved up, that was a big deal, and beat them at their place. And to see that scoreboard go to 3-0, and then at the last 0 came up, the scoreboard went blank. There was nothing left there because they didn't want anybody to know.
They didn't want nobody to see, Coach. Well, I'll tell you, it was a pleasure for me to experience a victory against Plano because they were so hard to beat back in the late 80s, mid to late 80s.
In 92 was he got a new head coach and brought him in, and that year we strummed them pretty hard. They'd always beaten us pretty good, but I think we were 46-0. So one of the kids came, Mike Breckenridge was our quarterback, and he probably still remembers coming down to me on the sideline about a minute left to go in the game with a big smile on his face, and I jumped on him about smiling too big. Then he came back with about 15 seconds on it. He said, "Okay for me to smile now." Yeah.
All right, I like it. Bringing back the memories, bringing back the names, man. It's incredible. Well, I'm, again, glad that they're honoring you tonight. I'm excited to see everything that's going to go on. These young kids are out here working their tail ends off, which is what y'all used to make us do. How do you feel about the future of the program? I know Coach Pels has been at the helm for about 2 years now. Seems like he's instilled this program and trying to build something.
Hey, it's like everything else. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was a football team built in a year or two. It takes a while for you to be able to bring some of that mojo back that we used to have, where the kids actually start believing in themselves and thinking, hey, we're supposed to win. We're not supposed to lose. And if he can, looks like he's got positives going on. And I've been up and watched them a couple times in scrimmage and whatnot. They've got young kids, and just be patient. It's going to take some time to get there. The hardest part about it is having the people to stay patient. Let the coach coach. You as a parent, just pat your kids on the back and say, do what coach tells you. We'll be all right.
Yes, sir. I'm totally with you on that, man. I mean, that's something that you taught us. You got to stay the course. It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough, but you got to keep it going. And I tell you, you've done a great job of doing that, man. It's great to see you here, and I'm looking forward to continuing to see you. Mark Tank Evans reporting for Friday Night Glory with Mr. Coach Winston Duke.